Hi, I'm Pat Sloan. Welcome to my channel. This is a series on getting our fabric organized. And in this particular video, I am going to talk about figuring out what fabric you have and what the sizes are so you can figure out where to put it. So it's very specific. Each of these videos in this series you can watch independently or in a stream, but they're all going to have a specific purpose so that they're not too long. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. I hope you click the subscribe button and the bell. And if you're over at Facebook, please pop over to YouTube and do that. Okay, so I like to sort my fabric. Oh, get it, they're heavy. Fabric is heavy when you get it into a bundle. So these are the bins that I use. And you can also get, there's all different colors. I like to use a bin that has a similar color because in my space, I don't want I want to have some color sort of palette to the room because I'm in here all the time, and if I don't have it a little bit soothing, it's not inspiring for me. Now that might not be the case for you. I also do not have shelving with sides. For the most part, my shelving is much more open, so let me just roll over there so you can see that shelf. So up there, I can't really stack things just on the shelf. I have to keep them in a bin. You could get bins with lids because a lot of you tell me that you don't have shelving. So that's something important that you need to look at when we're doing this step as well, is to look at your particular environment. What in your environment, what is it like? Do you have shelves? Do you not have shelves? Can you get shelves? Do you want shelves? You may not want them. Do you need to stack? Because a lot of people need to stack the bins. So these come taller, and I'll link you to all of those things. So if they're taller, you can, stack them up. But then you remember, if you're stacking them up, if you want to get the bottom one, you have to unstack everything. That's why shelving is much better for me, because I don't want to take 5 deep of boxes to get to the bottom one. I would rather have shelves where I can just pull it out, or even if it's just 2 on a shelf. I'll show you in my koala studio, the other unit, all the way over there. See, those are stacked, and they're just 2 to 3 stacked at a time. And even I find when it's 3, it's a bit of a chore. It's like, oh, I gotta pull out the bottom one. All right, so that's one of the thoughts you have to have. What is your environment like, and what will you put the fabric in so that you can get to it? And I recommend, we're gonna talk about containers in another video, but I recommend things that you can easily manipulate and put together and stack side by side that's tidy, versus like bags or totes, which you can't stack and you can't get in them easily. So this is my fabric. And whatever size bin you have is how you will fold it up, and we'll talk about folding in another video. But today it's just getting ready to go through this and understand what you actually own. So we're going to have, you're going to look at your fabric in kind of like 3 ways. This is, I would call it like this is your fabric, regular fabric. Then you have scraps, and scraps would be tinier pieces. And what is a scrap? A lot of people are like, what is a scrap? What size is a scrap? So I'll talk about that. And then you have pre-cuts, which would be like you purchase them already cut up, like the layer cakes, the charm packs, the jelly rolls, and then there's fat quarter bundles. So those are separate. And today I'm not going to talk about those in this video. This one will just concentrate on these pieces. And so I have gotten some pieces out down here from this aqua bin. So this first one was a 1/2 yard bundle, a 1/2 yard piece. But you can see now, let me move these, you can see that I've used part of it, and it's not even, so it's not even all there, but this is a big size. Then you might have something a lot smaller, which was probably part of some sort of layer, fat quarter, and then, I have a big chunk out of that one. Then sometimes I have pieces, so I'm gonna fold this back up. So while I'm working, I do kind of keep it organized, so I'm not just throwing things because I have to refold them. I'd rather just refold them now real quick. So here I actually kept a leftover piece with this. And I'm going to put this aside because I want to talk about why you might do that. Then there's like, this is like a fat eighth, which is kind of a weird cut. It's useful, it's a big piece. Other little, you know, scraps and things. And then you get down to leftovers, what I call leftovers. This is from a layer cake, so it's a 10-inch square. And here is just something cut off. And then even like, this looks like, I don't know what this, but part of something that was left. So out of all of that, in my regular bin that I just showed you, the bin where I'm going to put everything, all of that but these three, I would go through and get these out, these small pieces. This is a 10-inch square. This is a 5-inch, well, sort of 5-ish. It's not quite 5. And then this is a little bit bigger. But the reason why, let me tell you the reason why I would take this one. It's a bit bigger. I might cut it into a 10-inch square. I might cut it into 5-inch squares or 2.5-inch squares. But the thing is, for me, because I'm not making super scrappy quilts all the time, this is not a usable size for me to do multiple blocks in a quilt. You know, am I going to do a couple blocks in a quilt? And if I was going to applique something, I'm thinking, well, do I ever think I'm going to really want an aqua something in my applique? And would there be other fabric eventually that does the job? And would I rather just not have to deal with this piece anymore and cut it up into a scrap system? So I will talk about scrap system, but today we're just getting them organized. Remember, each of these videos is very specific. And so I will mention that there'll be others. And by the time you watch this, they might already be there on my YouTube channel. But I want to keep you very focused. So we have this grouping here that I just showed, and all of these are then things I would keep. They were big enough. Now you could argue that the cupcakes they're a little bit bigger than that last aqua piece, so they're still pretty usable, and they're images, and I think, and I love it. It's a very old piece of fabric. I've had it forever. So let's talk about this one. Why did I decide to keep this smaller piece in here? Well, the reason why is because this piece of fabric there, it's cut on both sides, so that's how long it is. It's, you know, the width of fabric, and it is a pretty good sized piece. So if I were going to decide to do a few blocks and put this in here, I want to keep this extra piece in case I need it. I don't want to just say, okay, it's smaller, I'm going to put it in a scrap system, because I might want to use this in a project and it would be beneficial to know I still had this much more to use. So that's kind of a decision to make on the fabric. Now when you go through all of your fabric, one thing you'll note is that if you fold it nicely, you will fit more into your container. If you are just sort of jamming it in here, and honestly, this was sorted a while ago, and I'm a tidy person, but I am not a good folding person. Do you like have a friend who like everything they fold is like neat and tidy and all of that? Well, that's not me at all, ever. So I get it, I will take it out. Like if I wanted to look at what was here, I would basically, whoop, I need two hands. It's too wide, there's too much of it to get just in one shove. So there would be one bunch and the other bunch of this. So I would pretty much pull all this out, both sides of it, and now I have this stack. And I can go through here and refold this nicely into the shape for my bin. And it's like, this is a pretty big piece, and it's been around forever and ever, and I refold it many times. I often will take, for this particular bin, and make like bigger pieces on one side and smaller pieces on the other side. That way it's a little easier for me to manage. So once I go through and fold all this up, like here's another piece. Somebody gave this one to me, and it's just a little bit bigger than a layer cake. Well, it's not as wide as a layer cake, but it's so cute. But it's a small piece, so probably it should go into the scrap system. You know, that's what I would be thinking about. And then also, as I go through here, I might look at fabrics and say, you know, am I really going to use that? You know, am I really going to use the whales? Do I think I still want this? So I will take things out that will go to a charity. You know, I have people who make charity quilts and I give them a bag of fabric. So that will relieve me of having something in here taking up space that I may never use. So that is the process of going through what you have. Now, it might sound crazy daunting because maybe you have not really addressed any of your fabric yet at all, so it's all over the place. I have done this many times over the years, and I really believe that if you can pull everything together, like and it sounds horrific, but it's actually kind of fun. I think it's fun. Pull everything off the shelves, pull everything out of the containers, pull everything out from under the beds, bring them from the other rooms, bring them from the car if you still have it in the car, wherever, the garage, the attic, basement, bring everything together. Then you start to sort. Put it by color: aqua, green, red, white. I put it by that sort of high level color. I don't go into, oh, light aqua, oh, teal, oh, dark green, forest green, evergreen. You know, no, I just go green. And you get all of these grouped. So you have all these grouped. And then from there, go through it. I would suggest, it's easier for me anyways, to pull larger pieces. So pull these ones that are larger and put them in a stack, and anything that is maybe under a yard into the other stack. And then you go to the under the yard and you start going through that. And you say, do you have pieces that are like 10-inch square or less, or, you know, just sort of all chopped up, you know, things that you're like, well, it's hard to find them in here. They fall in the bottom. Now I do occasionally do this. Take a baggie like that, a pattern, you know, a baggie, and put it in the bin. So this is a bunch of aqua fabric that I was using for a project, and it was the little pieces, and it was a small patchwork. It was a splendid sampler too. And so all these little patchwork, they were useful because I kept reusing them in different blocks so the colors would go around. But when that project's done, that baggie will get cut up and put in with scraps. So once you have gone through and you've separated, you've gone by color, separated large, separated sort of everything else, down to small, large, small, and then everything else. At that point, that's a bit of work. You could do it by color. You don't have to do everything all at once. You could just say, okay, I have a lot of blue, so I'm going to just do blue today or the next few days. I'm going to pull all the blue from everywhere in the house. You know, get your flannels, get your batiks, pull it all together. I don't segregate too many things. I keep everything pretty much together, except for I do keep Christmas by itself because I really don't embed Christmas in other projects. And then occasionally, and then of course the pre-cuts are different, so we're not dealing with pre-cuts yet. This will get the bulk of your fabric, right? Because most of you, this is the bulk. Your pre-cuts are a little bit, some of you have sort of got the fabric together, but you're working on scraps, so that'll be another video. It's a different video, but you should identify what you still have in your regular, you know, in your bulk fabric. What do you still have in there that might be considered a scrap? This is step one, I think, to getting it done. You need to identify these things, and then the fun starts of getting it refolded and organized and on to the next thing. So I'm Pat Sloan. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting me and my small family business with using our links. Anytime you use a link, we receive a little bit of income from that. It doesn't cost you any more money, and we really appreciate it, Greg and I love doing these. This is a first of many, so I'm excited to get some other ones recorded for you and see how beautiful your fabric looks. See you later. This is Pat.